Welcome back to War Thunder and welcome to the tank review on the rocket launcher T34 Calliope, American battle rating 4.3, rank 3, premium medium tank with rockets. That was a mouthful. The T34 Calliope, I will just call it Calliope from now on, is a very, let's say, famous vehicle within War Thunder. On the other hand, you will never encounter it on the battlefield, and when you encounter it on the battlefield, it is very likely that people had access to a test drive from it. It's a premium vehicle. People will have access to test drives from time to time. This is how I got the opportunity to play it, which I will show you some gameplay from. This is a review made on the experience of having multiple test drives so far, and there is one incident where I really manifested my opinion about this tank, and it's not the best. But don't think for a moment this is a useless vehicle. I think it can be fun, but I think the high cost of nearly 10,000 golden eagles, which is around 50 euros of real money or the equivalent of your currency, for me, it is not worth it. If you look for a pure research vehicle, don't purchase this. If you look for a very novel tank, a rare sight on the battlefield, and something that you think you can really go into, you can definitely gain more experience that I currently have with this specific tank. You can master it, you can try to really go for ridiculous scenes with the rockets. This might be the vehicle, but I personally, for a normal person within War Thunder with limited access to money to throw at the game, I don't recommend it. For pure research purposes, there are much cheaper possibilities. So I have some gameplay recorded, and I will show it to you in the background. First of all, the armor. To make it short, the armor is not really great. Frontal armor, 50 millimeters, slow backwards at 56 degrees, effective thickness depending on the exact angle somewhere between 80 and 100 millimeters. But it is riddled with weak spots, and even if those weak spots have some additional plating, everybody will be able to penetrate you. You even have some additional road wheels there. Same goes for this plate here and this plate here, and this is rather flat. You see the angle looks promising, but it's just too thin. The side armor as well is really thin, just 38.1 as well as here. There is a little bit of overlay going on, but not too much, and those additional plates make it very obvious where your ammunition racks are. The rear of the tank just 38, rooftop just 12. It is rather vulnerable from the top, but not too vulnerable. It's not open top. That's the main purpose. The turret, on the other hand, looks a bit better. Just 50 millimeters, a bit of rounded, but it's still a big target. From the front, you actually have 76 millimeters at a decent angle. Effective thickness ranging from around 80 to 100 millimeters. In the extreme parts, even better than that. The gun mantle itself is 50 millimeters, but has a really big overlay at with an additional gun mantle, it seems like, with nearly 90 millimeters, so 140 millimeters of effective combined armor, and there is as well a bit of sloping going on together with this strange additional plating here. It reminds me a little bit on the Sherman Firefly that British have with the 17-pounder, but overall the armor is not really strong. Now, obviously the part is here the gun steel. It houses the ammunition or the rockets. You have 60 of them. The question is, can you destroy them? Can you blow them up? So to cause an external ammo rack explosion that ultimately will destroy the tank. The quick answer is no. You can damage it even with machine guns, with armor piercing, high explosive, high explosive of various calibers. You will damage it, you will make it black, but you will not bring it to explosion. At least I did not manage to do it, and even my enemies on the battlefield did not manage to do it. This is kind of a bit of overpowered in my opinion. Yeah. Then those rockets work in conjunction with the gun. You can see here the connecting steel. And yeah, the good thing is you have 10 degrees of gun depression, 25 degrees of gun elevation. The bad thing is those rockets are not so easy to aim in comparison to other rocket vehicles, because they are very off from your center line of aiming that the gun is. And then it brings us to the X-ray. We can see a lot of ammunition. Please take everything out except like 30 shells. It will enhance your survivability a lot. Obviously those ammunition racks here will get emptied first, but you know, you still have a lot of ammunition like this and this rack here. So take out as much as you can. Play a little bit around if you own this vehicle. You also have the transmission together with the engine, the fuel tanks, where I showed them. By the way, this radial engine together with the fuel tanks, they love to rather explode violently. Then we have one good thing, and that is 5 crew members. You have the machine gunner and the driver here in the lower part of the hull, and we have 3 turret members, the commander and the gunner, and the loader. Now, when you are down to just 2 crew members, you still can carry on fighting, but you just not have a reduced rate of fire on the gun, but also a reduced rate of fire for the rockets, which is kind of bizarre because they don't have to be loaded, if you know what I mean. So, that's the X-ray, that's the armor. Let's talk quickly about the mobility. We just have around 13 horsepower per ton. That's not really great for a medium tank, as well as the limited top speed of 38 kilometers an hour. The maneuverability is also really bad because of the low horsepower to ton ratio. You have problems in mud, and you also have problems reversing. Your reverse gear is more like Panther style. 4, 5, 6 kilometers an hour backwards is not really too great. So first of all, how to make the rockets or bring them to use. There is a huge variety of possibilities, from shooting up enemy tanks, tracking them, taking out their gun barrels, blowing them up when you can penetrate with the rockets, to just blind the enemy, to just frighten them, to give long-range artillery support if you have the right map and the right circumstances, up to shooting down aircraft. Everything is possible, and you have 60 rockets. That is, as far as I know, the biggest amount of rockets equipped to any tank in the game. You know, obviously I'm talking here about normal surface-to-surface rockets, not ATGMs. So, let's talk about the modifications. Obviously, you don't have to research anything, as it is a premium vehicle. Let's talk first about the gun. And yes, you should still use the gun for numerous reasons. M72 shot is a simple armor-piercing shell, 110 millimeters. The HE is not worth talking about, as the caliber is too low. And the M61 shell is an APHE shell. Normally I would just say use the APHE shell. The problem is with this, you just have 90 millimeters of penetration at point blank range, and very often it doesn't serve you very well against sloped armor, against you know, it's not APCR kind of bad against sloped armor, but you know, a T34 can reliably bounce it when he is slightly angled. You have a high explosive filling with an TNT equivalent of around 64 grams of TNT. That is much more, as for example, compared to the German 75 millimeter, but much less than the Russian equivalent. So, and then we obviously come to the rockets. Those are 20 kilogram heavy projectiles. Their maximum speed on the trajectory is 260 meters per second. That is just a third of the muzzle velocity of the main caliber shells, you know, your cannon shells. They have a rather sensitive fuse. They also have 29 millimeters of penetration at any distance and against any angle. So, yeah, I think that's basically the tank review, and the rest I will explain in some gameplay. So, and as you can see, I had a lot of fun in this game so far. As you can see, it's also very difficult to aim the rockets against aircraft. You don't have simply the elevation. I would have loved to show you some gameplay in this tank according to shooting down aircraft. I had the opportunity 1 or 2 times. Now this battle is nearly over for me, as I get bombed by what is it? A Focke-Wulf 200. Yeah, and that was sadly the battle for me. I had no respawn. And this battle here on Poland is the best battle I had so far in this vehicle. And it's showing practically everything. First of all, this tank likes urban combat, and in my opinion, it is not really suitable to wait in an ambush location where you can go hull down and, you know, look over some debris when the entirety of your tank is in cover. You know, you can't shoot then the enemy, because you still have to aim with the main gun, and the gun aims then into the rubble. It might be somehow possible, you know, but I didn't figure it out. Now you see me here doing a very aggressive push. I aim with the main gun. I hope that somebody comes around, and I will just, you know, ruffle stomp him. And that is basically the best description. And, you know, there are 2 reasons for using the main gun. The first of all is that you can give very precise fire in comparison to the rockets, of course. The other hand is the sound of the rockets is very noticeable. It's kind of an equivalent of the ZSU-57-2. When it shoots, you know that it is a ZSU-57-2. The same goes for the rockets on rocket tanks. You know somebody uses a rocket tank. Now the Panzerwerfer 42 has the most unique sound, and you know this rocket sound is rather normal, I'd say. It shares the rocket sound, if I'm not mistaken, with its Russian equivalent that I also made a tank review on, also because I got a test drive on. And yeah, I pushed here deep into enemy territory. I'm in half cover. Then I see the chance to take a T34 85 out of commission. Very dangerous tank. I one-shotted him. This is the good thing about the gun with the APHE for side shots. It is more than good enough in my opinion. Then I move on. The problem with those rockets, indeed, in city combat is that sometimes you can't really disable the tank fast enough, or they are too difficult to aim, especially when you just have to hit a small area. I pushed aggressively, looked around the corner to the right, then I see something to the left, and again I used the gun first. Critical hit on a Panzer 470, it seems like. Very dangerous tank. Nearly impenetrable from the front. Now I saw another tank which looked like a KV-2, and I just said to myself, nope, not taking my chances, not hanging around too long in this rather obvious position behind enemy lines. If somebody were about to spawn, you know, he could have had my back. I don't want to have this to happen. I don't want this to happen, rather. Bad English, I know. And I move on. And I frantically look around here to spot any enemy. A gets decaptured. I have to go back. There is a friendly Sherman that goes back as well. There is some action on the other side of the lake, you know, but I'm here in the combat area. Poland is a very, or let's say a rather big map. It is actually a map that I like quite well, because everybody can have stuff that he likes. Long range engagement, short range engagement, flanking opportunities, but also rather short distances to the main objective. It's a very balanced map, and I think it is also a very good environment here for the Calliope. Now again, I just had 1 hour to get good footage, and I knew that, so I actually saw an enemy tank right there, and I wanted to make the best use out of this 1 hour. Very unfortunate hit here. Again, an unlucky bounce. But you could see how I disabled his gun. Now I will not talk while the rockets are shooting, they are just too loud. And again the gun is disabled. And again I have problems, you know, dealing with this T34 from the front with the normal gun. You see here the warning for the rocket launching system. It's orange, but you can see it also has no effect. On the other hand, you can also see that I can't take out this T34 from the front with rockets, that is. Now he's down to 2 crew members. I loaded the higher penetrating shell and I found the weak spot right here. I hear tanks behind me, turn around while repairing, and I see an ASU 57 here. I load the AP. He fired, I reverse. Actually a big mistake, and I take penetration into the turret, and I just have to see that I go out of the line of shooting, but I have no idea where the shot came from. I have really no idea. I have 21 rockets left, so I have to make the most out of them. I hear again tanks. I check the street, nothing in there, so I turn around. Now I have APHE loaded, and I have to prepare for an oncoming onslaught. There are not many tanks left. I am currently the only tank in the city area. And that was a double strike, and that is the strength of the Calliope. With the first shell, I just hit the engine compartment of the Panzer IV, and then I had the rockets as backup, so to speak, to disable his gun, and that saved me the day. Also, I had, you know, just the volume of fire to disorientate the second Panzer IV, and then also finish him up with the main gun. That was a very dangerous situation. In many other tanks, I would not have had the chance to survive this like I did here. Now I hear a tank somewhere. I'm not sure where he is, and he's behind me. I turn around, don't extinguish the fire, and just have his rear. That's sadly not good enough. And the rockets sadly don't penetrate. Also, I don't have its turrets. He reversed back. I kill him, but he lets me burn down. That were 8 kills with 1 Calliope. And now let's have a look how many score points I have to respawn. 2000, nearly 2200. I used the backup vehicle. They come with a test drive, you know, en masse, so I use them. And I drive on, and you can see a lot of aircraft, and you know what's coming, don't you? I tried. There are many enemies, and there are not many of us. I look around. I want to capture. I hear an aircraft coming from the left, and I'm mistaking it for a moment for a I have mistaken it for a Yak 9T or K, whatever, but it was in fact an SU6, and he took me out with his twin 37s. Good play by him, he had my side. I should have angled myself, but whatever. And yeah, that's basically it for this tank review. It was kind of shorter than usual, I'm sorry for that, but that was the best I could do. But here is a little bonus, just for you. You liked that, didn't you? So, special thanks to X Cinemux, Pro Red Cat, Carbon Tuna, and Lumisis. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for helping me with the cinematic shooting, so to speak, at the end. And that's it for today. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I hope you liked the video. Please so give it a like. And subscribe if you want to see more. And we will see each other on the battlefields of War Thunder.